How's Ryan Hall? Has he got any chance for this weekend?
No. He's tried really hard, and that's a credit to him. I keep talking about how professional he is, and at his age, that he's done everything possible, work himself around the clock to try and get on the field. But there's probably, a couple of days short. So he'll play. He'll be right for the following. Like after we get next week off, and he'll be right for the following game.
Yeah. Can you give us any clue as to what you're going to do for the wing position?
Yeah, Alfie done a good job for us last year. It's been unfortunate for him this year that he hasn't had any opportunities, and he trained really well in the pre-season and then had that broken jaw, and which was a shame because he was training really well. So when you get an injury, just I get excited about opportunities that presents for someone else.
And Alfie obviously he'll have plenty of incentive, won't he? He's struggled to get in the team this year. I think he's only played twice, so he'll be itching to go, I imagine.
Yeah, well, he's only played in those like the friendlies. He hasn't had the Super League game for us this year. And he's excited about the opportunity, and like I said, he done a really good job for us and really kicked on at the back end of last year. So he'd be hoping to kick off, where he left off.
Could there be any other changes from last week, or is
no? No, we touch wood. We got through last week outside of Hawley. Okay.
And you've got a break now, obviously, after this weekend. 2 weeks to the next game. Could you have some players back then? Brodie Croft, Cam Smith, people like that?
Yeah, all those guys were pushing to be right this week, but we just decided to give it, like that one extra game, that one extra week gives us really 2 weeks. So we just took the cautious approach with those guys. Cameron was really close, but yeah, like they will be right now for the next game.
Yeah, Matt Frawley's in the squad. He was 18th man last week with Jack Sinfield starting. Is that likely to continue this week? And how did you think Jack went last week?
Yeah, look, Jack done a lot of good things. He got a couple of things wrong at the back end of the game with a couple of kicks. But it's part of being a young guy. It's part of experience. They're not going to get experience from training. They got to get it from the games, and then they're going to get a few things wrong, and then you got to leave them there and let them have back-to-back games. So, when I made that plan, I told Jack that until Crofty comes back, he'd get these next couple of games, just so he knew he didn't have to worry about trying to play for his jersey, to keep the jersey. He just needed to do his job. And like I said, you bring young guys in, the only way they get experience, and it's everyone with their careers, by playing and getting a few things right, and they learn from that, and then getting a few things wrong, and they'll learn from that as well.
How's Matt taking it? Obviously, it's tough for him as the number 7 to.
Yeah, it's tough, mate, but he's a professional. He's a good person, which makes it easier because he, while he understands it, like he's disappointed, but he understands, and he'll just go about his work and work hard, and if he gets another opportunity, he's got to make the most of it.
There's been some speculation about him maybe moving on mid-season, perhaps being loaned out to Huddersfield or something like that. Do you know anything about that?
Well, that's up to him, but at the moment, like, he's not being forced out the door or anything like that. It's just I've picked a team based on what I think was best and form. There's nothing around that. If like something comes up for Matt, a better option, well, that's up to him. But there's no talk of us trying to squeeze him out of the club.
And what are your thoughts on Magic Weekend? You're looking forward to it, obviously, your first one in this country.
No, I got the one last year because remember it was at the back end of the year.
Right, yes, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it was in Leeds. So, but I'm looking, forward to going up. It's James Park, is it? Yeah, looking forward to that. So, the atmosphere, nice and exciting. It's probably a bit disappointing that's on the same weekend as the NRL. Magic round. But outside of that, it's I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, nice to see the NRL copying something from us for a change.
Yeah, right. You got to say.
St Helens, obviously. I mean, you won't have looked beyond the last couple of seasons, but Leeds haven't got a great record against Saints in recent years. You pushed them quite hard in the Challenge Cup, and that was a game you could and maybe should have won.
Yep.
Got to take the next step this time.
Yeah, well, that's what we're about. Like, we've pushed a lot of those top teams to the limits and just haven't gone on with the job. So that's the next progression that we're chasing. Like instead of just being competitive in those games, we want to come out the other side. So hopefully we learnt from last week. We put ourselves in a real strong commanding position, and maybe we just got a little bit shy at the back end of the game and didn't continue to go after it. I'd much rather the guys continue to go after it when they get themselves in a position and we get a few things wrong, then we can learn from it. But like last week, we didn't go after that last little bit, and we got nothing to learn from because we didn't get anything overly wrong because we didn't go after it.
Do you feel you are in good form?
I'm happy with like the style of football that we want to play. They understand. We're good at all the basic fundamentals of the game. Like with our missed tackles, our completion rates. We didn't have great field position last week, but we've been really good at that. Systematically, we've been really good physically, effort wise. So it's just learning how to win those tight occasions, isn't it?
Just on Ryan Hall, was there any concern that he would be longer? Is it almost good news that it?
No, so he's had the scans. It's just a really bad rolled ankle. One of those ones, once they do them once, they probably do them a bit more often throughout their career, and then it gets to the stage where they do it regularly and they're right within a couple of hours. So it's but it's a credit to him. The size of it and the colour of it. Like I thought he was next to no chance at all at the start of the week, and he just worked really hard and just didn't want to go out there tomorrow and not be able to do his job to the best of his ability.
Yeah, good stuff. Pete obviously asked on your form. Just St Helens obviously had two big back-to-back games. What's your take on their recent form under Paul Wellens?
Look, that's not my job to decide how well they think they're playing or poorly. That's up to them. What I know is they're a good team, and good teams, they don't put back bad performances. So they'll be hurting from it, and we're expecting a good contest. The occasion of magic round will get every team up.
And just one man, a player at St Helens, an interesting sailor that's talked about recently. Is he someone that you would identify as sort of one of their star men in attack?
He's a good player. If you give him time and space, he's dangerous. He gets the ball in. He's an opportunistic player. And like I say, you just got to make sure that you limit the opportunities that you give him because he'll make you pay.
I know preparations will mostly be about yourselves, but is it almost hard to prepare for an opposition team when you're not quite sure what the spine will look like leading up to it?
Oh, whatever combination they come up with, it's a good combination. They all bring different things to the game, and they're strong. So overall, it won't change too much on how they play. But like I said, it's for us at the moment, it's where we're at, and how do we just take that next step? Like we've showed good signs of improvement, but the next part of it is not just being competitive in games, but is icing those games.